coming in a second, so we can just kind of catch up a little bit. I don't know why I forgot you went to
I came
Israel
back to
again.
Israel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but okay, because the last time I talked to you, you were okay. You lived in Israel a long time. I know the beginning of the story. You're in Portugal. You wake up. You start doing your thing under the radar. You go to Israel. You meet some people during that time, and then we all keep going. Then we connect about 4 years ago. You were in Israel. Then you went to Portugal because I remember you took a picture with Maya Maticular, one of my favorite people, and
Yeah.
a few others as well, both in both countries. And I remember your story too because you went back to Portugal and your family was there. Here, I'll tag you on the post. Let me see. So you went back to Portugal. Like a lot of us, you had a lot of family stuff, recircling, retracing your steps, bringing things into alignment, and then. So, how long have you been back in Israel?
In Israel, 6 months now.
6 months. Okay.
And I went back to see our last talk, and it
Uh
was
huh.
months ago. I was in Portugal and I was getting bored. And I was in that place of the unknown. And one of the last
Uh
things
huh.
I told you is when I know already what I'm supposed to do, I'll be in touch. And that's what's happening.
Okay. Everything you just said, I couldn't hear. You were breaking up. I, I'm not sure if it's because you were moving. It was a little crackling, but so you went. You 6 months
Okay.
ago, you were getting bored, and you went back to Israel. Is that what you said?
I was feeling bored when I talked to you 10 months ago.
Oh, okay. Hopefully, I won't do
Okay.
that to you
And I
again.
was telling you that I was in this place of the unknown
Yeah,
and
that's right.
that I would get in touch with you when I would know more. Okay.
Ah,
So
so
when I
then,
heard you talking to Elsa Delon about the domes, then I said,
oh yeah,
okay, this is the time to talk to you again because I'm
yeah,
totally in there in the domes. That's why I came back, and that's what I've been doing. So I said, okay,
yeah. It's a
I'm
perfect
getting,
time. It's a
yeah,
perfect time.
exactly.
Do you have a earphones in? Do you have
No,
no, your mic? Where's your mic at?
I don't have
Where's your
one.
mic?
I don't
Okay, so
have one.
you're on your laptop. Okay, good.
Yeah,
Make sure there's nothing around the perimeter of the laptop. There's a little bit of cracking, but it's not too bad.
I don't know. I
So
turned my cellular off. I don't
yeah,
have anything around
no, you're
here
good. You're
apart
good.
from apart from a lot of my teams. And Franco promised to be here too.
Okay, all right.
I had a really strange day, because
Today,
because whenever I'm supposed to talk to you, I spend the whole day receiving. It's like viewing stuff that I've been doing till now. It's all coming together, and today was really intense. So I asked, why is this coming up before my talks with Todd? And you want to know the answer? The answer that I got? The answer that I got was Todd's role mission is to bring out the divine feminine, the divine in women. He is already working with you. Accept it fully. It is okay. This time you are safe. We are here with you now. Okay? So that's your role. And that's why whenever I'm supposed to talk to you, and there's so much coming through about what I've been doing until now, and in order to accept it, because it's very difficult for my mind to accept it. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
yeah, I turned that off so I could cough. I'm sorry. Uh, so yeah, I can. Okay, first of all, I can relate to either knowingly or unknowingly, because it happens with me on the shows a lot. And after the show, like today, it may have been today, it may have been us today, because about an hour ago, I started getting all this energy, and I thought I was going to have to lay on the floor because I used to get seizures from 15 to 50. I had about 150, 200 seizures, and you get certain, you get a certain symptoms or feelings. It wasn't quite that severe, but I could feel it, and I've been getting this for a while. But I've really changed my diet a lot, so I think it might be sugar related more than things sometimes, because I've cut sugar out totally, pretty much. But so sometimes I'll have these things, and it usually happens after the show, and I'll go, "Oh, that's what that was," or it'll happen when we have technical difficulties, like we had that today too. See, so there's always this kind of evidence, and I've noticed over the years, because now we've done 4,000 shows, so you see this, you see the pattern. So I get that. Like, we're going to meet in the physical, and I consider this physical, or two people are going to meet or whatever, and the energy starts to come in beforehand. So that's one thing that I picked up from what you said. Two is the fact that whether it's specific aspects, I've been getting, and some of the people coming on the show have been talking about, we have a lot of help here, like more than ever. Yeah, I talked to a friend of mine yesterday who's very, very galactic, and I think he's going to come on and talk about it. And he was talking about because he's like you, he's up there working in the ethers for many, many years with other people, and basically the information that he gave me in our conversation that he was getting, his intel is really strong, was that everybody's come now. Everybody's come, like even some of those star families that weren't here, that were waiting, they're here now. And I think the third thing is absolutely Soulogy is a platform for the voices of the Mother Goddess, and that's all there is to it. And it was interesting to talk to my friend yesterday, because he's very galactic, and we have another friend that he works very closely with the last 8 years, and their intel, they get together, and it's very, very galactic. And I won't go into the details. I hope he comes on, because it'll be interesting to hear what people have to say about his experience. But he was saying that at the galactic level, and again, this is really for a metaphoric purpose, energetic purpose, to kind of just follow what you're coming into and what you're going to talk about with the dome, and accepting everything. And in their intel very recently, the Andromedans came in and said, we're here with 50,000 ships. We're going to change your assignment a little bit. We're going to change your frequency a little bit. It's game time. Same message I'm getting. I mean, I'm fasted 2 of the last 3 weeks for 3 to 4 days. I didn't do the whole week. I've changed a lot of things. I've stopped a lot of things, and I'm doing it because I'm being told to. So it's the same kind of thing that you're talking about, I think, and that's what's in the air. Is let's own this. Let's stop talking about it. If we're really souls, eternal souls, and we all have this common narrative that has come in, that we have come here to do something fantastic, then let's blow fear off of the fear of death and anything else once and for all, and let's go with what got us here, which is, in your case, the dome, which is, in my case, maybe it's doing this. Everyone's got their piece, and we need it. So I just want to thank you for bringing it up at the top of the show, and just restate again, it's time for everyone to step up, and it's okay. We're good. We're supported. I was given a download 2 weeks ago that scared me so bad that I laid in bed for 2 hours, and they took me back to when I was on the streets, and they said, what, you don't want to do this, or what, you're scared to do this? And they took me back to the streets and said, what was your mindset? And of course, that was my awakening. We can all relate to this. You had, yours, and there was nothing going to stop me, and there's still nothing going to stop us. But I think the depth of what's happening right now, I can only compare to 2012. So thank you. And the reason I think the catalyst was the dome, right? And several people have brought this up now, right? So I know you've been working with the dome for a couple of years, and you sent me 3 pictures. 2 are photographs, and 1 is a drawing, which is really incredible. So wherever you want to start, because I believe that there's going to be encoding done through what your transmission brings.
Okay. Where I want to start is that to remind us that 2.5 years ago, while I was listening to Franco de Nicola's teachings, I started drawing something, and when I looked at it, it was like an inverted dome with lots of things written on. It was like a transformation dome, a rejuvenation dome. And I started working with people to understand what that was. Which I do. Whenever I get something new, I try it on people to understand, what is this? So I got people into that dome that I am able to create energetically. It is a creation. It is not a meditation that you go in and out. It's true creation. Anyway, what happened, Todd, it was like a couple of months ago, I was going through old images of paintings that I did and drawings. And I saw something that I realized that I had done that dome in 2015 over the Sea of Galilee. Over the Sea of Galilee. I
Wait,
didn't
you did a dome in 2015, but you started to actively do it listening to Franco in 2000 19, something like that.
What happened?
2.5 years ago.
No, it's 2020. I listened to him. What happened is that in 2015, I was called to be at the Sea of Galilee, which is a place that I used to go because it gave me great peace. There was a certain place, the Sea of Galilee, that I knew that the Yeshua's family was there with me.
Yeah.
Because that's where they lived.
Yes.
Okay. And after going there every month for a long period of time, I was called to live there. So I moved to a village on top of the Sea of Galilee. And I thought I was going to, to start a new life, meet new friends, get jobs, nothing of the kind. What happened is that every day I was called to this place that I had the whole view of the Sea of Galilee. Now, the Sea of Galilee is a lake. It's not a sea.
Right.
It's a lake. So every day I was called to imagine something. Okay. And even if I didn't, things were happening, just huge tunnels of rose light would appear, or I would see the golden dolphins from Sirius B building a dome on top of the Sea of Galilee. Anyway, it was like I was there for 7 months. Every day I had to do something, and I did not know what I was doing. But I painted it, and I forgot all about it. And when I looked back about a couple of months ago, I said, oh my God, I was doing that already there. And I didn't realize it. And then I was reminded.
That wasn't the photo that drawing you sent. Was that the painting from 2015? No. Okay.
No. That's the painting, the drawing of the dome was while I was listening to Franco.
Okay. Gotcha.
So what's happening now is that I've been practicing to put this dome on top of places. And I did it in Portugal. Not only with people, I also put it on top of the house I was living in, the village I was living in, and then I spread it out to a whole area around the village, quite a large area. And how do I know that it works? Because someone came to visit me and drove all the way from the north. And when she didn't know anything about the dome and what I was doing, she just didn't know. But when she got to a certain place, she told me, as I got to this place, the energies changed. And I said, oh my God, those are the limits of the dome that I put around the whole place. And what happened was that towards the end of my stay in Portugal, I was called to do some work in this cave by the seaside. I talked about it with you and Morgan. I was in one of Morgan's groups while I was going to do that. But it was photographed. And when it was photographed, I saw, I was allowed to see what was happening there. And that was the amazing thing that I had to understand as well, is that I'm able to bring seeds and ground them here on earth. And on that picture, you can see that there's the seed of the tree of life.
Let's see this one.
There's that one and there's the other one. Yeah. That one. Yeah, you can see, read, there's a seed there. This is me, the little figure there, that's me.
Oh my God, that's you? The little orange thing?
Yeah, I was already out of the cave.
So you had somebody stand back, take a picture. Wow.
Yeah, I had somebody from Soulogy, Todd.
Who was that?
With me, okay?
Who was that?
It was Door from Netherlands.
Oh, I love her. She's amazing. She's in Egypt.
She just appeared in Portugal, and she posted she was in Lisbon. I asked her what were her plans, and she said, "I'm coming to Milfontes, where I would stay." But she didn't know I was staying. She didn't know I was staying there. So we knew that there was some job that we needed to do together.
Oh my
So
God.
I went into that cave and I had to touch the walls of the cave. But when I came out, she was out already and she photographed. And this is what came out.
Wow.
Here you can see Mother Mary. Can you see her over there? She was with me.
Let me see. Oh my God. You're talking about right in the middle? Right in the middle at the bottom?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see the Mother Mary. I mean, I actually see, and then on the left side, you know what the craziest thing is, that little light blue thing at the bottom of that arc looking thing, that upside down dome. But to the left of it, it looks like a small, that could be, I don't know. It looks
that's
like a being
me.
as well.
That's me. I'm
Oh, is that you? Okay.
Yeah.
I see. All right. And also, if I look at this, I see a lot in the rocks with the,
The
grandfather rocks and stuff.
Talking
But
away.
yeah, I can see like a lot of energy there. Now this is in Portugal. Yeah,
This is in beautiful. Portugal. Yeah. But it's all connected with the dome and the work I do in the dome. And what happened when I got bored in Portugal, I started imagining that I was going to create something in Portugal with the people I knew there. And I had this whisper saying, no, we have other plans for you. And what happened was the little pension that I was living on, pension that Israel gives me, they stopped giving it to me. Okay. And when I noticed that I had no money coming through, I got into a panic and then I start laughing. It's like, okay, this is time to go back. So I came back here and it was very, very difficult. It was very difficult. I didn't know if I was coming to visit or if I was coming to stay. And I came to a place that a friend of mine went abroad for a couple of months, so I stayed in her place. And the energies were so thick, was so heavy that I got a rash all over my body. It was very, very difficult energy-wise, but things are happening. And I decided to stay. and I was shown a place with a dome in the garden. I'm now in a house with a dome in a garden, an actual dome where I can have people coming and do workshops. I finally started to work with the dome with Israelis, which I didn't before. I worked with people all over the world, but the Israelis didn't connect.
Right.
And now they are. And what I feel is that it's time to bring this kind of knowledge to this country, because what happens is these domes are hubs of peace, okay? And they are connected by a grid. So when people learn to contain or to have this dome in their space around them, it's like lots of peace hubs all over the country connected by a grid, and it's really powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I started with a group, and it's really amazing. And it is time. It is time
Yeah.
to
It's
do
time.
this.
It's time. Yeah. It's time to get the word out. And if you think about it, this is the old way too. These circles or these gatherings, the symbology of the dome. I think in that conversation that told you it was time to go. Let's get back on again. Um, I talked about when I woke up, and I was shown everything with domes, like this was 2011, 2012, and
You were
they
shown the domes then? You were
yeah,
shown.
I was shown everything in domes. Like every one of us has a dome, and I was being shown that and how when we interact or when, in other words, we our domes will kind of like intersect, and so there's a dome within the dome, and that's our connection, right? But it was all this, and I wrote a bunch of stuff on it. I even wrote like chapters for a book, but I never put it out or nothing. But yeah, and then some people have been talking about it, so that's one thing. And then the other thing, recently, people have been talking about domes, golden rose dome, and then even some other geometry like the octahedron and the diamond. Uh, in these stories, what the way I see it is that we all know we're here for the same reason, individually and collectively, but we each carry a different lineage, like Franco would call soul lineage and human lineage, which I think is pretty big in most of our presence or many of our presences. But every one of us has like a different combination of our own experiences brought to a certain frequency in this journey. We can call it 0 point. And they're bringing that to the table, and everybody has a piece of it. It's like a big mosaic. So now we're tapping, and what's happening is you utilize the domes. You place them everywhere. Linda Jarrett does the golden temples all around, other people. And so that's us claiming our expansiveness, claiming our power, claiming our soul, whatever you want to call it, on this new earth grid. But I think back when I first woke up and they were showing me, this was the very first thing that happened to me. In fact, it happened in a dome. I was walking across the soccer field at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd been dancing all night. I was homeless, but I had a car. I had just got a car. I started getting on my feet, and I got called out to this place that I used to go to. I called it a sanctuary, and I'm walking across the soccer field, and it's a really stiff wind, and it's of course very dark. And I'm walking across the soccer field to go to this park, and I could see in my lower peripheral is a circle of light. So I walked into the circle as I walked into it because the wind stopped. And I walked to the other side, put my foot out, and the wind kicked up again. I stepped my foot back in, and the wind stopped. So I went to the center of the circle. I got on my knees, but it was a dome. Okay, there was ringing and tones and stuff, but there was this dome, and it was like grid lines. You know, you could see the grid lines or the latitudes and longitudes or whatever you could, the meridians or whatever you call it. But as you said, there was all this writing that I recognized, and I don't know what it was, or Aramaic, or I don't know what it was, light language, and it was all over the ceiling. And then after that happened, then they showed me everything. But what I was bringing it to a conclusion was I didn't know anything at the time. I had some guides that were like biblical prophet type guides that, you know, that I had some exchanges with. But when this happened to me, I went and researched it. And if you look at the Hermetic text, they talk about this.
They do, of the
Yes.
domes?
Yes, they now I don't remember, it's been 11 years, but I do remember I was guided to go to Hermes and to the Hermetic laws and all that stuff, and they specifically spoke, I think they called them geomantic domes. And there's a whole thing on it, you know, I don't know. I mean, that's the Thoth stuff, the Hermes stuff. I mean, it's all kind of the same thing. So the fact that it's coming back, the solar discs are coming back. Many people have talked about that.
But those domes, Todd, those domes are a place of unity.
Yes.
That's how I work with them. I work with the lower part of the dome that it's in the inner earth is connected now to the inner earth cities. That's how I work. They came to me that. I work with a specific energy inner city in Portugal. And just before I came, I had a few sessions with a couple of women, one of them from Soulogy. And we saw that all these centers, all these cities were uniting with the one in Portugal. And the one in Portugal I bring to Israel because it's the peace one, it's the ascension one. But it's now so powerful because it's together with all those cities. And so there is that powerful place. There is the new earth Gaia. There is nature beings, and then the galactics. And they're all in this dome. What I call rose dome, it's because it has the Venus, which is the cosmic rose, together with the rose in earth. So the whole dome is like a beautiful feminine space that we can create around us because it is a creation that you feel you are in a unity space in there. And then we're all connecting. I think Morgan also made a drawing of that, right?
Yeah.
All these domes.
In fact, I think I'm glad you brought that up because I think it actually looks like yours.
Yeah, when I saw it, I said, okay, it's all coming up. We're all receiving that now because it's the time.
Well, the other thing that's, I think, really important is how this coding is coming in through our stories. And I think you're a perfect example because if we went back 10 or 15 years and we took a snapshot, or we had an episode of this show and people showed up, whatever, the stories were going on at that time. So 2015, you drew a dome. That was a premonition. You were already anchoring it. So everybody has their own, like we said, lineage, right? Their abilities, their gifts to the universe, to the world. And so you're the epitome of so many, really the vast majority of these, even of Soulogy, we're probably 70-30. And back then it was 95% female, 5% male. So, but what I was getting at is look at where you are now. Two things. One, do we all realize how many people, some for the last 3 years, some for 5, from 10, 15, 20, we're talking to a sister who walked away from everything long before many of us did and listened to the guidance and went and did these crazy things, and literally gets up every morning not knowing what they're going to ask her to do, but goes out and does it and figures it out, just like the cave, right? And so, two things. One, I really feel that we are reaping the benefits of the foundation we built in that 10-year period that ended on December 21st this past year. And secondly, I believe if we go back 5 or 10 years, 15 years, whatever, how often did we say to ourselves, I must be fucking crazy? Because everyone else was telling us that. Our family was telling us that, but we kept doing it. And so we kept doing it, even though we didn't have the confidence, right? But we were still anchoring. And what I see happening now is all of those things that you and those like you that really have built this grid are still anchoring it, but now they're anchoring it to a point where it's spreading out. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if you in time run into 2, 3, 6, 9, 12 other Meritas around the world who are doing the same exact thing, and as your sister or something, like a council of 12 or something, that actually, because of the frequency, actually end up making the connection in all ways.
I was told not long ago, already in Israel, that it's time to gather the roses. And I always wondered, okay, if I was part of the Rose Sisterhood, why didn't I meet any other one? Okay. And I was told now that I came back, you're going to meet the other roses and it's going to be here. So this is again what you're talking about. We start meeting the right people to create in groups and not by ourselves anymore. So I'm meeting quite a lot of interesting people.
Yeah.
And it's really a pleasure. But one thing that I want to really, yeah, you were going to say something?
Well, I just wanted to say real quick too. And again, we can never underestimate the power of one unique and equal soul, especially our own. But again, in the example of your experience in your story, the fact that it seems so small that a simple human woman from Portugal would be called to one of the most powerful places on the earth, and it could be, by some narratives, the most powerful portal, wormhole, whatever. And you were called there, and and I think this is another thing that your story brings out, is that you were there doing that pretty much in anonymity. But you and those like you in those situations that still occur today were holding the light. You were establishing the grid. And the fact that you got called back there, I think, is really important to me. Does it feel to you like we've moved into the final stretch?
I learned a lot when I went back to Portugal now. It was a time it was created right on time because it was the COVID time and I was in a right, quiet, peaceful nature place that I needed to be in order to receive more information and connect more to what I needed to bring back. One of the things that I understood, or it came to me in a book, and I understood that there's a great connection, very ancient connection between Portugal and Israel. And that was fascinating because I understood why I was born in Portugal and why I had to come to Israel and then back again. And the interesting connection was that at the time of the Templars and the Crusaders, there was a small group of Templars that were mystics. Yeah. And they knew that there were secrets in Jerusalem that they needed to get hold of. So they went on this Crusader Templars together, but they had a specific mission. And apparently they did get hold of those secrets. They got them translated and they took them back to Europe. Now, there was no country there yet. They formed the first country in the Iberic Peninsula called Portugal. And Portugal is the port of Graal. Graal is the grail. And apparently the secret was about resurrection. Okay, there was this knowledge, ancient knowledge, already in Egypt and probably from Atlantis. But they got hold of it written and they used it. They practiced it. And it was kind of an initiation, but it is like being born anew. And they took that knowledge and they started this country with Templars, and the first king was a Templar.
Really?
And apparently it was like a utopia. They used a lot of money that they gathered from the noble people when they told them about their secret. And they built schools and hospitals. Apparently they had an amazing country. But the Pope got hold of it. You know, there was so much power that he had to destroy everything and kill the Templars. But that was the connection between Israel and Portugal. And apparently that line had to be renewed. And that's what I came to do.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
part of the whole story while I keep coming back to Portugal to get more information, to understand more what is this dome, what is seeding the new earth, what is seeding the new energies, and then come back to Israel where there's really a need for it now. There's such a messy place, but
like
so powerful.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing this knowledge back here now. And everything is coming together, because one of the things that I really want to stress is already in Portugal, I said, I am not continuing without balance. I am human. And I want the things that a human needs to keep going with honor and respect for the human self. So in Portugal, everything I needed came together without money. I had everything. I came back to Israel and the finance part of it started flowing. Okay, there's money flowing. I never had so much money in my account. It's small. It's small still compared to others, but I never had so much during this journey in my account. I was gifted with this amazing house with a dome in the garden. I met all these people that are willing to learn also how to build domes. And one of the things that I also said I wanted was to reconnect with my family. Because they're really special people, and I had to leave them. And they went through a lot of stuff, not only me, you know, they went through traumatic stuff too. It's a two-way thing. We leave to do our thing, but they are left behind, and it's their mother that just left them all, although they were grown-ups already. Anyway, that is happening too. Okay, it's happening. They're getting together. After I told them that I'm staying, then they relaxed, and it became different. After I moved to this place, my daughter announced that she's moving here as well. She's moving tomorrow. She's moving tomorrow. So we'll be 2 minutes away from each other. It's like the universe is showing me, we listen to you. There must be balance. So I really feel that everything is coming together.
Yeah.
Right? It's the bits and pieces of this puzzle are finally getting together, and we are understanding our power.
Yeah.
And accepting it. Yeah.
Yes. and it's so crazy, the telepathy. I'm sitting there listening to you, and I'm watching all this stuff happen in my head, and I'm thinking of Judith Kuzel. And then I see this comment pop up from Judith Kuzel. Oh, and on that note, Judith's having surgery, I think in about a week and a half, 2 weeks. So we'll just take a moment with me, all of us, and just put her in the circle of life and send her healing, peace, love, and comfort.
And lots of roses.
And lots of roses. And so it is.
Yeah, she's a rose sister for sure.
Well, yeah. Well, what I was going to say is that, for me, there seems to be segments in my human incarnation lineage. So, it would be this section of time and there might be a few lives in between here, right? But there's definitely something I've noticed from the very beginning. And it's continued to be there. And I think it has something to do with the soul tribe, or we share some of the same code, or we had the same path in the human lineage. And I've met quite a few people, most of them women, but when I say quite a few, I'm talking probably like 30, 40 people over the last 10 years. And that part of the lineage seems to be, I want to say, right around the time of Christ. It seems to be like the Essenes. And from there, it goes into like a little bit of a migration, which covers what people call the Christos Sophia line, or the rose. I'm not familiar with all the terms, but you've got this piece that you're talking about now, and it seems to run through like the Cathars, and then into a small group of the Templars that seems to be part of your story, and then of course the Druids, the Bards. I mean, it's all through. And I've always seen that. Like, I could name so many people: Shekinah Rose, Judith, you, and so many that aren't really out there to, in other words, they don't do as much publicly. They're the ones that support and really hold up the grid. I've met many, many of them like that. And in many occasions, I've had them send me a note and say, I see you from this, from this part of our, previous incarnations. So the fact that a woman such as you, if we look at it on the surface, has this incredible story, has these kindred connections of soul tribe frequency being solidified and embodied further and anchored onto this earth through the sister of the rose, let's say, and the fact that we've come this far now, that we're out of this 10-year period and into this new 2023 and this new world, that your gifts, all of your gifts, all of your work, all of the energy that you put into it, all of your love and wisdom that has been suppressed on this earth and is coming back now, is going to be seen. All those that, and even those of you, because I met many of them too on my travels, that are by society's terms peculiar, weird, they're going to be seen in a totally different light. You're going to be seen in a totally different light, in my opinion. That's my knowing. It only makes sense because you're coming out more. Well, you're coming out more, and see, that's what I mean. How many Meritas are there? How many are they around the world? There's a bunch of them. There is a bunch of them. So, thanks.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. I feel that it's a new start completely. To do this in Israel is a thing. There's all this heaviness about people work a lot with the Bible. Okay, and the scriptures, the Jewish scriptures, there's a lot of connection with religion and with ancestors, and I don't. So it's a little bit of a learning how to do this. accepting their way and bringing my way, and not clashing, just connecting in a, how do I call it? In a loving way, I can say. It's beyond all beliefs, but it's different from what we used
Yeah.
to hear in Soulogy, and from the way we speak and connect. Working in Israel is different, but
I'm sure it is.
yeah, and they all connected the with the, with the scriptures, and I'll have to learn to do it, or just keep on in the way I've worked until now. But it's a learning process. Very
Well,
interesting.
the thing is too is, I mean, that's a powerful, powerful place, I've always done a little bit of research every day for these last 10 or 11 years, and there's a lot of stuff starting to show itself in Israel and everywhere. I mean, everywhere and every person. We know this is the great unveiling, but I think it's going to be. I don't know. I think we know that that spot is a very, very powerful and important place, especially if we go back to the last 12,000 years, because most of the narratives begin in the Holy Land, what we call the Holy Land, Egypt, the Upper Egypt and the Holy Land, that whole area. So something's going on here.
It is going on, and it's very interesting because while I was still in Portugal, I watched a live video on this guy, Israeli guy, who was being interviewed, and he is changing things here big time.
Now, who is he?
He's called Nivamir, and he started this movement called Together Movement. He's an Israeli who lived in Australia for 15 years, and he was called back, called back. And he had to stay because COVID started. And he went a lot against what was happening. But when it was over, he said, okay, enough of talking. Let's start acting. We're not going to fix the old, we're going to build the new. And this guy is attracting amazing people who work in groups, and he is already putting out new education, new health, new finances, new food, amazing. So this is happening here, and it's actually happening. It's not only talk.
Yeah,
Of course, it's not on the news,
right.
but there's a lot of these pockets of new things happening in a very small country. So something is happening here.
Well, I think this is another thing that we should restate as well, that's in your story and that people have been talking about in the first few weeks of this year. Um, the the impression or the feeling or the knowing that we got more help now than we ever have. So the reason I'm bringing that up, because it's because you know how that in the communities they used to say, and it's true, that the feminine energy was, we obviously know it was suppressed, and because of all the different traumas throughout all the incarnations, that in a natural way, energetically, they've been hesitant to step up because the energetics are still running in their body of being raped and right. But I think what's happening too is that the reason that they're starting to come out like you, and really start to come out, is because they do feel within their power, and they do feel supported and safe. And that means, to me, what that means is, and what that proves is, and we're going to see more and more copies or instances of that, even with men or other things, is that those that have led the distortion and the illusion are powerless. They're powerless. And how do you stop whatever the number is? Let's say there's 12 Meritas that have worked together life after life after life, setting up domes all over the world. How do you fight that? You can't. And it's coming from pure love. So this is, I know it sounds like a fairy tale, but this is the greatest show on earth, like Franco said right now.
I know. This is going to be, and I feel it's going to be very quick. That we don't have to wait many years for it to show the results. I think it's going to be much faster than we thought, and we have a lot of help, and
Yeah.
they're very active. Like you heard about the Acturians, I listened to Exopolitics
Yeah.
that Mary Radwell also talks about. Okay,
Right.
I listened to that. It's very far out. It all has to do with galactics and their involvement in what's happening here. And one
Mm-hmm.
of the last shows, they talk about the countries that were really involved with these extraterrestrials, and one of them was Israel.
Of course.
So now that things are changing and they really want to influence what's happening here on Earth, I'm very curious about what will happen here in that way with our galactic friends.
Well, it makes you wonder because, like I said, I talked to my friend yesterday and he's active 35 years in this, doing this, like from a late teen age, and that's, like one of the things that he said yesterday was they're going to land in 2024. Now, normally when I think about landings, ships landing, I think of it in a metaphor, or I think of it in a multidimensional way, like in the sense that we can't see them right now and they're actually all over the place or something like that. But I'm starting to get the feeling that it's going to be more than that. And going back to this download I got the other day, uh, when I got it, I laid in bed for 2 hours, scared to death, and that whole thing happened. The way that I got pulled out of it, or I guess when I got through it, the realization that I came to, or what I was being told, and this would serve to what you're talking about, the added involvement of the Galactics and other universal family. I was told, look, we got you. And I'm thinking, well, this could happen and that could happen and this could happen and this could happen. And they said, we got you. All right, all right. So
What do you mean? What scared you?
well, the
What
guidance
was
that I got, the direct, well, I can't talk about it right now, but I mean, the direction that I got, very similar to what you're, the same type of flow with you. Not exactly, but being called as we have been over the years. I mean, I've been called many, many places, but being called to a certain area and doing so in well, let's just say the human part gets scared, right? The soul isn't. But the moral to the story was, and the theme of it all, which is tied back to what you were saying, I believe, and my friend too, is not only did they were they explaining to me, we got your back, we've got you, you got nothing to worry about. I am soul, right? But they also made it clear in the days leading up to that, and in that particular afternoon, how much more, how many more were here. Like almost like everybody's here now, which is what my friend said yesterday, and which is what you're saying, and other people are starting to say these last couple of weeks. And I don't think that's some statement that's been put out in light worker starseed circles when people are just repeating. Because one thing that is happening for all of us is we're speaking our truth because there's no other way. And if we hear something that's not carrying truth frequency, we know.
still
Oh, you got the Lyrans.
that speaking the truth is still not understood by me, okay? Because I'm living in a place with people that you want to be kind to and connect with in their way as well. I don't want to separate myself.
No.
I don't want to just be connected to people who I can talk about my truth. So it's like if I go out to these people and talk the way I'm talking to you now, they'll run. Why would I do that?
No, we
So,
can't do that. We learned that a long time ago.
so talking the truth, I think, is about talking to ourselves the truth.
Well, yeah.
Accept
That's
truth is a lot about ourselves, because
right.
it's very hard for the mind to accept the power that we have. I really feel the resistance of the mind to accept what is coming through and what I've been shown. And but together with that, I want to be involved with things in this community. I live in a village that also works in a kind of they do communal things as well. But everybody has their own place and their own life, but they do things together, which is beautiful.
Right.
But I
Right
can't
on.
come with this kind of
No.
intel.
You kidding? No.
What?
No. What I mean is that okay, as an example, these people in this community saying something like that, it can't be something like that. It can't be a fad. It can't just be a cliche. What I'm saying is what's happening to everybody. Speaking the truth is not just speaking, and it's not just speaking about the subjects that we talk about, say, on this show with anybody and everybody. It's about being yourself, right? So I feel the same way, and I think a lot of people are starting to as well. Even though we've been recluses for a long time, we're understanding that we have to go out, and it doesn't mean we have to go out and preach and talk about all these things that we talk about, but just to bring our frequency into the field, because there are other frequencies out there that we may just be walking by them or sitting next to them in a restaurant. It's all frequency. It's all energy. I don't want to run out of time because we have another show in 20 minutes, but I want to show this picture, and I want you to, if you could talk to us about it.
The dome.
Yes.
It's the drawing that I received while I was listening to Franco.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay, part of the dome, the top part is created by the golden dolphins, but it has a lot of galactics and masters and ascendants in. And the bottom one is connected to the new earth and to those centers. Not much is known about these inner centers, these inner cities, and they're very quiet. There's nothing written in Google, and this is the first step that was given to me. Right, that's the first thing I needed to learn was about these inner centers, and that happened in 2004.
Really?
And this Liege is a very active and important center in Portugal, and that's the one I'm connected to, and is they connected to all the centers. So people can come into this dome and really go into amazing process of clarity and getting their frequencies really, really high. And what happens is that the people that go in, they start feeling the unity of everything. They start feeling nature like they never did before. And they radiate in the end this frequency. But they will have this dome around. It's like I can't say it's a protection, but it is a safe space.
Right.
It's a safe space where the galactics can come, where the earth can come, when the nature comes, and it's safe for them to come because we don't have to go anywhere anymore. They come to us. And of course, because I worked with the rose energy and the rose lineage, the whole thing is based on the connection with the rose frequency, which is very, very strong.
Now, these names at the top of the dome, because I mean, this actually looks. Oh, this is wild. Anyway, Altia, Hua,
Uh,
Huva, Aragon, Ashan.
and
What is that?
Shoshan, they are civilizations, very high frequency civilizations that I
Okay.
came in touch with, and they were my guides for a while. So
Okay.
that's
And
that's what
then at the bottom, you've got Anotia, Urks, Fatima, Mistilan,
yeah,
and something Aurora or something.
these are the centers in Earth.
Okay. That's what I
Some
was
of them,
looking for.
not all of them. There's a lot of them, but I just put a few here.
So you say there's a galactic part of this, or it has some of it's a galactic feel. So and then you had these guides coming from the top of the Altia, Huva, Aragon, and Ashan, but you've also had the connection with the inner Earth. What's your feeling, or have you been told which will show themselves first? We were just talking about ships landing, but there are a few transmissions and downloads and such that people have had, and narratives that our inner Earth family will show itself first. What's your thought on
Uh, I don't know, but this was the first experience I had was the inner Earth. I can't see them. I can feel their energies,
Right.
but I can't see the galactics either. You know, I just feel and I experience and I hear them, but I can't see them. So I don't know who will show up first. I have no idea. But all these things have been experiences that I went through. It's not stuff that I read about or I was told
Right.
or I went to
Right.
workshops. These were all experiences that I went through. Being
Well,
on
you
the,
can't you yeah, you
yeah,
can't make this. You can't make and this is and somebody else made a comment too on one of the I can't remember where it is now. It's moving too fast, but so I guess what I'm getting at is absolutely the self-sourcing and the conduit that we are for the universal anchoring here on earth is where the real wisdom comes from. And so my question to you, because the other comment that was made said she was going to go out with her specificity, she was going to go out into her community and start to share it. It had to do with Magdalene. Are you looking, are you kind of like heading in the direction where you're going to be actually uh, like maybe holding a meeting or a gathering and really start to bring this out to the public?
I am already.
Okay.
I am
Very
already,
cool.
of course. I'm doing this through the internet, and I've done this Rose Dome all over the world. And here in Israel is where it's very important now, and I already have a group, but I'm still working, one to one with people all over the world. Yes, as soon as I get this kind of information and knowledge, yes, I spread it. I don't keep it in a drawer.
Good.
So I'm doing
Well, I
that.
think that's, yeah, that to me, that would make sense now. If truly, which is true, that, let me get this off. How does this? Okay. That the divine feminine energy, the mother goddess energy, we know this, is safe enough to come out now. It would only make sense that those vessels that both birth universes carry the sacred wisdom of the mother, no matter what this world went through, that they would start to which has been happening. I mean, it has been happening over the last 10 years, but I'm talking on a bigger level, a wider level, that they would start to share the true sacred wisdom from, basically eternity, the true oral history, so to speak, that comes through our DNA and our memories and our omniscience and our
And it's getting
relationships and connections.
stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
The sessions I do and the groups I do are so much stronger now. I mean, people react differently. They receive, better because there's more opening. There's
Yeah.
also a different kind of energy around us. An energy that is very important is the rainbow.
Yeah.
I've been working with the rainbow for a long time, and now they're very active. That's the ones that appear to me, Tom. The first ones that appeared to me really was the rainbow. The rainbow team appeared to me, and it was an amazing experience. I went into this kaleidoscope of light, all the colors and geometries and faces, and it was like with the open eyes and closed eyes, I was in this space for hours. Now, an interesting thing is that I felt them coming from underneath, not from the top. That was very interesting. And some people talk about the inner cities, as very colorful, like a rainbow cities.
Yeah.
So what I felt and what it came through for hours, I was taken to this spiral of color. It was amazing, amazing. I was in a different dimension, but very much here.
Well, you were anchoring in different dimensions. What you were doing, y'all have been anchoring,
That
not
was
visiting
in
out there.
Portugal.
You've been pulling it back down here, which is
Yeah,
awesome.
that was in Portugal. No,
Let me ask
yeah.
you. Let me ask you because I'm going to have to get going here, but I'd like to continue this topic. So, kind of two questions. One, do you have a dumb question, but do you have a sisterhood that you consciously collaborate with in regard to the rose
Not yet.
domes? Okay.
Not yet.
Okay. So then the second question's altered. So the second question would be, I think it's come up enough in the last 10 years. And I kind of talked about the lineage of kind of like what my feel on it was. Cause I see Judith, I see Amanda, I see you, I see a bunch of different people all on the way, mostly women, few men, a couple of men. How would you feel about, like, right now, and maybe you could do it on your page, put out the call, any of you out there who have been working with the Rose Dome or something that might look a little bit different in your experience, but it feels the same kind of thing, but the dome or a place or whatever, and that feel like they've been anchoring it or want to anchor it, or want to know more about it or whatever. Maybe we change, have a little different type of episode and have, as we have in the past, but it's been a while, have 5 or 6 ladies who haven't been working together, who are doing kind of the same thing, and see where it goes. Would you be interested in that?
I would love that. I would love that because it's the time to meet all these women who are connected to the Rose lineage.
Right.
And I've been doing that on my own, and people come to me when they feel that they want to know more about because they are part of it. And then I do the initiations with them, but it's not the same. I want to know if there's others who already are working with the domes and the rose domes. That would be a level.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I think that would be a good thing to try.
Yes.
I think that would, it makes sense to me. And in the meantime, I'll see if I can think of anyone, the people that some of the prominent people that you know keep coming up again and again. You know, another one is Pamela Johnson.
Pamela, I did the dome with her. She
Yeah, well, I
went
was going to
through the
say,
whole.
now these are people, like I talked to her the other
Yeah.
day, and so this is a person who I saw first in 2014 or 2015. We never talked for 3-4 years. You know, you know what I mean? But I could see her picture and I could see everything. And
She's the one who
so,
told me about you, Pamela.
so I'll be darned.
She said, you better get in touch with Todd. This is for you.
Well, obviously, the more we can thread the, you know, weave together, the quick. That's probably why it's going so quick, if you ask me. But anyway, let's follow up on that,
Let's do that
and
if
let's
we
see
can
what we
get
can do with
approved.
that. Yep. Yeah, just it could be 4, 5, 6 people, but specifically to be talking about what memories they have, what downloads they've received, so we can kind of like encode with each other. We're going to be coming back in 10 minutes. We're going to be with Shivani Kumara. God, I'm so bad with names. And we're going to spend an hour with her tonight. We've got a young man coming on that ought to be interesting. I see Judy Dyer's in the audience. She'll be on next week. And Merita, I love you. Thank you for all the work that you do on behalf of humanity and from all of humanity. And let's keep it going.
And thank you for being in my life. Really. It means a lot to me.
Yes. Big dittos.
Bye, everyone.
All right. We'll see y'all.
Bye.